Welcome once again to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagee. They are both financial advisors and the founders of Allon Planning Partners right here in Tennessee. I'm your host, Spike Spangle, and today we're going to talk about the future of finances, especially when it comes to your retirement planning. Now, I'm a little scared here, Brittany. Are we going to jump right into AI? Are we going to start using robots to do our investments?
Well, you know, I was thinking recently about financial literacy, okay? And we were talking about how many people could actually pass a financial literacy test. And I read an article that talked about just 31% of pre-retirees and retirees actually could pass a financial literacy test. And, you know, with all the AI talk, it just kind of got me thinking. And I came across this study that talked about Chat GPT and having Chat GPT take this financial literacy test.
Yeah.
And it was intriguing because Chat GPT failed. And so many people are depending on Chat GPT for, hey, should I use this investment over that? Or what's the best strategy for me in taking Social Security? Is it this or is it that? And there's so much more to it. And the most intriguing thing to me is this. This is what the individuals who actually ran the study, I have to read it just because it intrigued me that much. Those who ran the study, this is what they said. We saw these results where Chat GPT scored just 45%. Okay, out of 100.
45%.
Totally failed the financial literacy test.
It didn't do that much better than the retirees, which were at 31%, right?
Right, still didn't do well. So those who ran the study said, we saw these results and we were stunned. Could it be that we were asking questions that were so abstract that even this all-knowing entity, AI, couldn't answer them correctly? Or is it because there's so many variations of the right answer for people when they're making these decisions, that there's so much subjectivity that really can only be moderated by humans?
And that's it.
I
believe that's
loved
huge.
that. I loved that they actually came to that conclusion because in this field, in what we do, comprehensive financial planning, it really is like spaghetti noodles. There's just so many pieces coming together, and you really can only navigate them through by relationship, by knowing, hey, here's what's going on in their situation. Here's what they like. Here's their emotional response to investing and how loss and gains impact them, and understanding the big picture for each family, and then knowing how to position investment strategy, income strategy, all of it based on the personal knowledge of the individual family.
Yeah, and here's a little bit older example I was saying, the subjectivity of the individualistic plan. When we were kids, we used to read books called Choose Your Own Adventure. And so like we would read a book, it'd be like, okay, chapter 1, if you choose to go through this door, go to page 14. If you choose to go to this door, go to page 18. Literally, good data in means good data out. Bad data in could mean bad data out. It's how you choose. So it's not that AI is not doing its job right now, but there are so many variations of the right answer and the subjectivity that's involved in what's going on that you really need to be careful what data you're putting in to what answers it spits back out. So we want to make sure that when you're choosing your own adventure for retirement, that you have good data to start with and that we're helping you with that adventure, right?
Well, and there are some things AI and Chat GPT are great for. You know, hey, I'm having my in-laws over for dinner. What should I cook? Okay, give me a new recipe.
Give me a new
great
recipe.
option to use AI. What should my comprehensive financial plan actually look like? Maybe not the best decision to leave up to
Probably
AI,
not.
right? So there's pros and cons. There's a place for it. I'm not dismissing it. I'm just saying that there is so much value in a personal human approach, human touch, navigating you through the decisions.
Normally we talk about the plan and what you guys can do as we're going out to a commercial break. I want to give this a little bit more time right now.
Yeah.
You talk about that a lot, that we want to get to know you, that we forget the statements, forget what you have. Just come on in first and let's get to know one another. And I think this is the big reason why. The subjectivity. You can't make a recommendation to someone unless you know who they are. What do they want their retirement to look like? What do they want it to be for their partner? Are they going to be closer to the kids or the grandkids? Are they active? Are they not active? That's why you can't just answer a question from an AI research.
The whole first conversation we have with anyone who walks into our office is not, hey, how many assets have you accumulated, and do you want to grow your money as much as you possibly can? Because everybody's answer is, I want to grow as much as possible and lose nothing, right? That's everyone's answer. Well, of course we want that. But the deal is, we want to know who you are. We want to get to know you. We do purpose-based retirement planning, goal-based retirement planning, so that we want to find out what makes you tick. Do you want to go see the grandkids more in retirement? Do you want to go fishing more in retirement? Do you want to travel at all in retirement? We want to make sure whatever it is that you're trying to get to, that we can understand and that we can dissect so that we can put a plan together in order to get you there. We reverse engineer the end from the beginning and say, okay, if we want to get here and you have, now we know how many assets you have, how do we most effectively get you to where you want to be?
Begin with the end in mind, and that's what we do. And it's so pivotal to us, so important to us, that we named our show that, the Allon Exchange. It's about not just a transactional exchange that happens within our field or our industry, but this relational component that is so pivotal to our interaction and to our planning strategy. If we don't have that, we cannot properly plan. So it is the crux of it, which is why we even called this the Allon Exchange, Spike, to be able to really illustrate it is an exchange. There's a relational dynamic that happens that allows the planning to actually occur.
And let me take it a branch further, if you will, in that I'm putting in my own inputs for 401k, how much life insurance. I mean, should I be the one being subjective about myself in my own It's kind of like being my own doctor and giving myself my own diagnosis. Do you want to wait for people to be 63, 64, 65 to come into you and subjectively say, did I do okay on my investments? Or can they come in earlier?
You should come in as soon as possible, because everyone needs a mirror. Everyone needs someone reflecting to them, where am I actually at, to see what work I have to do to get to where I'm going. And we put together individualistic plans based on that right there. We'll put a mirror right up in front of your finances and say, you are doing these things really, really well, and you may need to change the way you're doing these things in order to get to this goal. If not, it may just take you longer, or you may not actually be able to get there with how you're handling your finances right now. We want to make sure that we're having realistic conversations to get to realistic approaches so that people can actually get to their goals.
So let's pump the brake a little bit on AI, and let's go back old school. Go back with a book. If you call the phone number down on the bottom of the screen, you'll get a complimentary copy of the Allon Approach, exactly what Jay and Brittany do in the offices every single day for folks who are getting to and preparing for retirement. How can you be and stay retired without running out of money? There's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can call the phone number down on the bottom of the screen, or you can open up your technology if you want to. Open up your phone to the camera function, point it at the QR code. It'll take you over to our landing page, and you can schedule an appointment right there. Yes, there are technology tools that can help us, but they should not be the final answer on your retirement planning strategies. Call Jay and Brittany Hagee. We'll be right back more with the Allon Exchange right after this.
Hi, I'm Jay Hagee, owner of Allon Planning Partners. Well, you've probably heard a lot about Roth conversions lately. First of all, what are they? And second of all, how could they benefit you? A Roth conversion means getting your money out of those tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and traditional IRAs where you've been kicking the tax can down the road for so many years. But really, the question should be, is kicking it down the road really in your best interest? You have a partner in those deferred accounts. It's Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam is going to take his cut from every dime that grows in that account when you decide to take it out. So let's give Uncle Sam the boot from those retirement accounts and let every penny of future growth be tax-free. Well, with the highest national debt we've ever seen, taxes are not likely to decrease anytime soon, placing a giant tax bullseye on your back. So a Roth conversion is getting your money out of those tax-deferred accounts, paying the taxes now while they're on sale, by the way, and then getting them into accounts where your future dollars can grow tax-free the rest of your life. To experience this tax-free retirement, you do need to sit down with a fiduciary, someone who specializes in retirement planning. So just call the number you see here or scan the QR code and let us help remove that tax bullseye off of your back.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagee, both financial advisors, partners themselves, and the founders of Allon Planning Partners. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. And I do like to talk a lot about behavioral finance. In fact, it's on my mind. I studied in a symposium. His name was Daniel Kahneman. He's considered one of the godfathers of behavioral finance. He just passed away last month at the age of 90. Won a Nobel Prize for his research on it, basically on prospect theory, how most of us prefer more to avoid losses than to go after gains, right? Fear aversion, right? Loss aversion. Is behavioral finance, is this voodoo wisdom, or is there something really behind the research?
Well, I mean, you'd think that people would make investment decisions based on the facts and maybe the numbers or their goals or their purposes. But in reality, that's not what most folks do. In reality, there's this movable element called emotion and behavior where we actually react to what our money does, and a lot of times make some decisions that can be kind of harmful to us. And economists did this study, and this is really intriguing to me, talked about how instead of making decisions based on purposes and goals and actually black and white numbers, individuals make so much of their financial decisions based off their personal experience. And mainly within their formative years of life, okay? As a young adult, what happened? So like maybe you experienced some kind of, maybe a market loss. Maybe it was like a 2008. Maybe you were in your younger years, 2008, or your young adult years, and there was a big, massive hit, right? That impacts the future of how you invest, why you invest, when you choose not to invest, and makes a big difference in your results or the outcome.
And again, Nobel Prize winning research that supports this decades worth.
He's exactly
Very
right.
valid.
Most people are going to avoid pain versus attain pleasure. And so when you're looking at a retirement goal, what you're doing is a setting to attain a pleasure. You're setting a goal to attain, here's what I want my retirement to look like. Here's what I want to attain. Well, the problem is if you don't have a coach coaching you through this, which is what we see a lot of, you're going to hit pain points along the way trying to attain this goal, trying to attain this pleasure. And you need someone saying, you are right. You are where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to stay in this vein. Because if not, your brain's going to tell you avoid pain, and that you'll never achieve that goal or attain it if you bail or abort every time that you feel some pain. You have to have a plan.
Here's a practical example of that. We have 2 kids. Our youngest loves flag football. Like he's all about football.
It's really good, actually.
And he's got some exceptional natural ability in it. Okay?
Mom and Dad bragging here just a little bit.
Yeah,
He's
just
the
a little
man.
bit. So he's playing his game, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something, and he's kind of downtrodden because they're not doing so well. They're behind, and they're like, man, this just isn't feeling so good, But who's on the sidelines saying, all right, buddy, let's go. You can do this. You can do this. We believe in you. Stick with it. You're doing that right. Look to the left. Literally coaching him, helping him see things that he can't see. And when he actually presses into that, the difference that makes. Now, obviously, that's a very different kind of illustration, but it's the same concept.
Yeah, but 3 plays later, he did get a pick 6 for a touchdown.
Hey,
So
you
it's about
keep
coaching
going.
you through the pain.
That's right.
Because everyone's going to experience pain in life. You can't get away from it, right? You just need to know that you're on the right track, because sometimes we have to go through the pain to get us to where we need to be. And I think that's what we do when we set together and we put together this holistic 5-tier plan to make sure every aspect of the plan is pointing you to attaining that goal you have. And even if there's small pain points along the way, it's much better than avoiding and throwing it in the trash and aborting and having a lot of pain because you never get to attain that goal.
Our fight or flight instincts are real. I mean, and this is something that we can definitely apply to it. And there's a lot of folks, let's talk about another real example, is 2008.
Yeah.
When the markets went down, and a lot of folks in their 401ks lost over 37% in less than a year period, They
That's
moved over to
massive.
Canada. So, oh my God, I didn't realize how
Right.
much I could
Yeah.
lose. And the
That's right.
problem is, many of them have not gotten back or
Still
gotten
haven't.
back fully.
I have
So-
many people come in and tell me, hey, you know, my friend or my coworker or me, myself, we moved everything to fixed investments after 2008. And man, if we wouldn't have done that, we would have had 3 times what we have right now in our retirement savings. Because why? We were trying to avoid pain. If I could boil all this down to one sentence, is don't be led by emotions. Like, have a plan, have a guide, get a coach. This is why you don't want to do it on your own. This is why people come in and see us, is so that we can put a plan together and that we can assure them that they're on the right track. Don't be led by your emotions.
And the voice, this is a perfect illustration as to the voices that you have around you in those moments in a 2008 or on the field when you're, you know, 10 down,
Yeah.
about to throw the ball. I mean, the voices that you have around you
Matter.
that you're listening to matter so
Yes.
deeply. And if you have the right voices that you're listening to, what an impact that can have, not just immediately, but over time as you have that. It provides such stability.
Yeah.
And keeps you on track. It's just like a weight loss program. You got to have somebody to keep you on track, or a health if you're changing your health, right? It's not a one and done. It's typically something one step and 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, and it takes time to build, time to grow. But that consistency is what makes the difference. And that's when you have those voices on your team that can really help coach you through. It can make a lasting impact.
Another bias that really does affect people a lot. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of biases. I encourage you as a viewer, if you want to go to your phone as well, you can look these up yourself. Behavioral biases. Better yet, call the phone number below, make an appointment,
Yeah.
come in with Jay and Brittany. But one of them is recency bias. And recently we've had higher interest rates. Recently, our markets have done pretty well. There's been a
Right.
little bit of pullback and so forth. And if people are stepping into retirement right now, they take a snapshot of what's going on right now. Is this economy going to hold for 30 years in their retirement?
Absolutely not.
History
This
tells
is
us
going to
no.
continue to cycle. There's continually going to be a cycle, and that's healthy actually in an economy. When there's recessionary periods, then that work into growth periods, there are times that we have to go through pain in order to get to the goals that we have. But there again, don't be led by emotion. And the recency bias, you can't take. If you would have went with the recency of 2022 when we were down 25% and said, I'm out of the market totally, you would have missed 2023 when we were up 30% in the market, right? And so you can't just make your decisions based on how you feel in the day or what's happening in the moment, but based over a long-term investment philosophy.
All right, and so to do the behavioral coaching to help people to make mistakes for themselves, how much do I need to put on my credit card? How much do I need to write down in the check to sit down with you both?
Well, here's the beauty of it. It doesn't work that way with us. There's never obligation. You're not stroking a check.
Right.
You're coming in and sitting down and having a conversation. That's what we offer. That's what we talk about. It's a conversational exchange where we learn about you, you learn about us, and we talk through some options. We talk through some strategies. We talk through some creative solutions to help you get to where you want to be. No obligation, no pressure. It's not like, the car sales lots, things like that. You're not going to feel any pressure.
We're not selling anything, right?
Because listen, here's why. Because we're not trying to get something from you. We are working to get something to you, to provide you some value, to provide you something that will improve where you find yourself, not just today, but down the road. That's the heart behind what we do, trying to get something to you, not from you.
All right, we're going to take a very short break right now. We've been talking a little bit about the technology and the subjectivity of trying to figure out your own answers for retirement. I want to discuss with Jay and Brittany exactly what it is to be a fiduciary, what they do in their firm, and again, why is there no cost to do that? But before we go out to break here, I'm going to have another message in between when we come back. Call the phone number below. We have people standing by right now. You can claim your own appointment with Jay and Brittany to get started on your own Allon approach, your investment and your drawdown approach for retirement. This includes a tax analysis, estate planning, healthcare choices, how and when to take Social Security, and whatever else is on your mind when it comes to retirement planning. Don't just research on the internet. Just don't do that water cooler conversation or do exactly what your parents or grandparents did. This is your retirement. Make sure that you have your own approach, the Allon approach. Call the phone number. More with Jay and Brittany right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with financial advisors Jay and Brittany Hagee. They are the founders of Allon Planning Partners. I'm Spike Spangle, and we're talking about, there's a lot of great technology out there, and I kind of want to know, what is your both relationship with technology? Are you stepping into it, or do you avoid it? And can Chat GPT, can they be a fiduciary?
We don't avoid it. We absolutely step into it, right? But we use it appropriately, I believe. Like we were talking about earlier in the show, I think that you don't use it as your financial advisor, but you can utilize it for a lot of things in your life, right? We can use it for good calculations and what's happening right now in the economy and things like that. But something that's going to be really subjective to every individual and could comprise a comprehensive plan, you are putting the data in. You want to make sure that you're putting the right data in. That's what we want to
And real
help
quick,
with.
before Brittany jumps in here, is I want to say, because I keep saying Chat GPT, but you know what? There's all kinds of robo-advisors.
Right.
There's all kinds of stuff that are saying, look, we can let the technology do it for us. We'll give you the age. You can say our tax bracket, how much we've got saved. And like, look, if a computer can do it and be much lower cost, should I let a computer do that?
Well, and that's interesting to me because we read this study that Vanguard recently did, and it talked about the value of utilizing a financial advisor. And the study talked about a $500,000 account that was self-managed versus a $500 account that was managed by an advisor. And with the self-managed account, it grew from $500,000 to $1.6 million over a 25-year period. But then with the advisor working with the client and advising on the account, it grew to over almost $3.5 million in that same time frame. And as we've talked about before, it's not just that the advisor knows all the ins and outs that the individuals don't. There's a behavioral component here to where we as human beings can come alongside you and say, hey, here's when not to sell, here's when to buy, and help you navigate through that process so that you don't make decisions at the wrong time to have an adverse
And the interesting thing in that to me, Vanguard started that study to disprove that you needed an advisor.
Right.
They started the study
That's
to say,
even better.
you don't need an advisor, and we're going to prove it. They actually proved that an advisor that is doing their job well is doubling what you're getting in a 25-year period.
And this wasn't about being aggressive. This wasn't about options trading. This wasn't about a sexier investment.
You know what
this
it was about?
Just
behavioral coaching.
Yeah.
Half of that gain was what we're talking about today. Half of that gain had to do with making a plan and having someone holding you accountable to stick to it, and not just avoiding every pain point that you hit, but actually going after the goal that you have set forward and making sure we're not being led by emotions. That's where it comes in. You know, there's a lot that we do that's past that, but half of the gain right there is because we're real humans with a real skin on. We're real people. We know what other folks are going through based on our human touch that AI probably won't get, right, with the emotional side. And we can help navigate folks through difficult times to not make wrong decisions.
Brittany, you shot me an email recently that was also from this, and this really surprised me. You said also that men are more likely to use a financial advisor than women. I thought me and Jay are the ones who are less likely to ask for directions than women.
Isn't that intriguing? I mean, that's so interesting. You would think that women would be more prone to be open to that kind of help, but that's not what this study found. Actually, men are more likely
Shocking.
than women. But I mean, kind of in the back of my mind, I'm thinking maybe men are more aggressive and they want to go after more return or something. But honestly, especially, so much more planning needs to be done for us as women than men. That's just a fact. As women, that we have more planning to do than our male counterparts. Number one being because we live longer. That's the biggest issue. And so ensuring that what you have can last that lifetime. So more and more reasons that women should actually have someone on their team to say, hey, you can do this. Let's walk this out together. Let's navigate through and not miss out on those opportunities.
By the way, this isn't just a topic in a show. This is also something that you guys do as your two-person show together, right? You guys do couples and finance
Absolutely.
live seminars. How can somebody who's watching the TV program...
You know, that's one of our favorite things we do, actually, is teaching the couples workshops. Actually, because the couples teaching couples and helping navigate through, we have relationship dynamics
Absolutely,
just
we
like
enjoy
everybody
that.
else does, that we disagree when it comes to money and how to
Sometimes.
spend and how... Maybe more frequently than sometimes.
Did you guys catch that eye roll? Did you?
Yeah.
I saw that eye roll across the desk
We
over
got
here.
it. You know, we do disagree on how we spend our finances, but at the same time, we understand that we have to have conversations about it with each other. And that's why we set up these conversations for other couples to come in and say, listen, you're not a robot.
Yeah.
You're not trying to be on
Right.
page with everything that I do or everything
We're
that
not
you do,
gonna
right?
agree
We're not
all
going
the
to agree.
time.
But if we don't have conversations about it, it's going to cause more conflict than we already have,
Well, it's going
right?
to
And I
cause
wanna-
more conflict, and there's going to be more pain points. We're
Yeah.
going to
Yep.
experience more pain as a result. Because again, back to that proactive versus reactive, being proactive in our approaches rather than just knee-jerk reactions and responding when we have to, rather than when we can and actually make a difference.
Yeah.
And I'll ask then, as a fiduciary, as both of you as fiduciaries, as the Allon Exchange being a fiduciary firm, can you take a side? How do you keep from taking a side? Because I mean, our own individual beliefs on money are very important to us, and it's obviously one of the biggest things that creates a wedge between couples.
Yep.
Do you gotta be careful about picking sides?
Well, at the heart of those kinds of conversations is we want to seek to be to understand the other person more than we're pushing for the other person to understand for us. So that's kind of the coaching that we offer in those kinds of conversations. But absolutely, we're going to nail down the black and white. Hey, here's the reality of the situation. If one person is just off in la la land, like is expecting something that's absolutely unrealistic,
right.
we do have to kind of call that back into account, and we're going to speak some truth to that. So we will discuss the black and white. We are going to lay that down, but we're also going to have that relational component where, hey, we understand what you're feeling.
Ultimately, if you go to our events tab on our website, allonplanning.com, you can check out some of these couples events that we're having, or just come sit down with us at our office if you're a couple that wants to hear how we handle this thing of money with conflict. So we would love to sit with you.
Thank you guys both very much. You know what? I'm going to throw one more thing in there as well. You call the phone number down there, you'll get a complimentary copy of their brand new book, The Allon Approach. And yes, it will address couples as well. We want to make sure that you can be and stay retired. You don't have to figure this out by yourself. Call the phone number below or use the QR code. Open up your phone to the camera function, pointing at the black and white box. You can schedule your appointment. Either way, get started on your own approach. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.